That was a close one. Almost was late on this one. But we made it. Looks like we got a couple people here, but I'm going to go ahead and knock out this disclaimer. Let me just get my phone and my little caddy here. Alright, phone caddy active. That looks good to me. Alright. Sam, that wasn't an invitation. I love you, bud. Alright, but you gotta go. Thank you. Sit. Sit. Not a licensed medical professional. Nothing I say is intended as health advice. Any major changes you make to your diet or any other aspect of your lifestyle is something you check with a licensed medical professional before enacting in your own life. I am also not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is a recommendation for investment. Any major changes you make to your financial life is something you should check with a financial advisor before enacting in your own life. I'm also a law-abiding citizen. Nothing I say is an admission of guilt. Anything I say that's illegal is simply added for entertainment value. No way a reflection of the truth. That being said, welcome to my stream, everybody. It is, I don't know what fucking day it is, honestly. But it's a day. It's a fucking day. And, yeah, we're doing stuff. What are you guys doing today? Let's do some greetings. What's up, Franquita, Marie, Melindy? Welcome. It's actually some type of festival today called, I'm probably going to get this wrong. I might have already forgotten, but I think it's called Mahashivratri or something. It's interesting. I don't know. But it starts at 3:30 or something today. If anyone wants to fast with me, I will be doing that. If you've got any questions, any topics, anything anyone wants to talk about, any comments? Susan Larson, you did make it. Oh, Sam is making sound effects for us. You good, bud? You sure? You're alright? You're alright? Yeah? You trying to tell me something? I think you're okay. I think you're okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for licking me with your freshly hacked whatever that was. Okay. Wind Warrior, welcome. Melanie, welcome. Is this my first day of fasting? Not really. Kind of. I did like a quick approximate 24 yesterday, and then I broke with some milk because I realized I still had like a gallon of milk that was going to go bad by the time I finished fasting, and so I couldn't let the milk go so much. It triggered me to chug down some milk, but I'm gonna do some water and stuff today, leading up to the dry part at 3:30 something, whatever. You'd have to look it up, but it's like 3:36 or something. Pacific time. You can make cheese. You know what? That is a fucking great idea. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I don't actually know how to make cheese, but I'm pretty sure you just put salt and milk and like let it go do its thing and then strain it out, but I could be wrong about that. I'd love some information on making cheese if anyone wants to game me up on this. Anna, welcome. Haven't seen you actually in the live. I love your interaction in the comments section though. And by the way, you guys, I would like, okay, so this is what's gonna start happening. This is what since we don't have any questions, I'll just go ahead and round this up. So at some point, I don't know when, but you know, I've been pushing hard enough that even with the like 7 or 8% of my hours not getting counted for the official count, I think that I'm still gonna push over this amount of this 3,000 hours thing that we're trying to achieve, because we're already at like over 3,200 on the unofficial count. So I got to figure out like what we're gonna do with this whole thing. And so, you know, the question is, do we keep it down? Do we knock it back to like a once a week thing, or do we try to do some type of daily thing? Because those have to be two completely different like formats. Because I can't talk about whatever I can talk about once a week. I can't talk about that every day because it'll get repetitive. So let me ask the 12 people here, my favorite 12. Let me ask them, what is the preferred schedule there? We'll just start with cheese making. We'll just switch up the whole thing. We'll just be like, we no longer all of our other topics are gone. Now we're just gonna make cheese. Let's see. People are talking about cheese. They say you can make labna cheese just by straining thick yogurt. That sounds yummy. And Frankita says to make daily thing you need more reach. That's true. That's true. Tread Bruce, make cheese and bacon cakes. Okay, so that's a good point. Daily thing needs like more reach, right? But yeah, I think it might have to be a push into the, yeah, maybe we'll just do a weekly. After this stream, you guys, we're gonna drop back to the weekly live. All right. That's actually a lot more pressure, less pressure for me too, with the whole like internet. You know, I could also just be random and just like pop in anytime. Yeah, they don't have, there's definitely not enough new questions for the daily stream. That's why I was saying it would have to be different. So the weekly would just probably continue to be Q&A based. Also, you guys, I wouldn't mind, like, I'm kind of tired of talking about myself, to be honest. You know, and I feel like even if you guys want to make like profiles, like for the people who are not already on a Finsta account to join these lives, like if you want to go anonymous, that's cool with me too. I don't mind. But you know, I feel like the world would be better served if I like consulted with people on their problems, or not problems, but you know, things more relevant to themselves and their own lives, rather than to just constantly talk about myself and my experience, which I did, and it's all recorded and fucking the whole world can watch it forever and ever now. But the now that that's done, I think that it would be great if you know, we reversed this thing, where maybe you were like wondering something, you asked a question, but something that was more relevant to yourself personally, and then we could like discourse and, you know, talk about that. And it could be totally anonymous. You don't have to, or you guys are pushing for twice a week. Well, the thing is, you guys, is you know, well, let's just say that I would be, let's see what happens when this thing happens. When I get this thing, because I feel like it really depends on some of that, or I don't know. I'm trying to make the most of this, you guys. Like, I don't, like, honestly, a lot of the places that I hang out doesn't really have, like, an internet connection that much. And so I always end up having to, like, travel a little ways to get to, like, a Wi-Fi. So it's like a lot of pressure to do it so much. But I don't know, 2-3 days, that's like an every other day thing. I thought about that as well, but I don't know. I feel like, the other thing about the weekly thing is, like, so a lot more people watch the videos that are just posted as videos on YouTube than people watch the live, I feel. And so, these videos are like, we usually stream for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. And so, it pretty much will take me like a whole week, if I wanted to actually take this thing seriously, to process that, because I have to like break that down into videos and like shorts and stuff if I want to do this properly, and like, what I'm saying, draw more attention to the full stream recording, because it's hidden in the live tab and nobody's got time to fucking sift through 40 hours of streams that are mostly untagged and no descriptions. Nobody knows what I'm going to be talking about. It's just like, hey, okay. That's, 30 minutes of it is me reading the chat silently. So that's the thing about that, There you go. Maya's first in line for consultation. All right, yeah. So come up with some stuff, or let me know what's up right now. What's on your mind, Maya? Rakita says, I would like to know how many hours of sleep you get in regular sleep schedule. Yeah, I'm pretty much totally wired. I'm pretty much synced with my circadian rhythm is like perfect right now. Like I go to sleep like, I don't know, within 30 minutes of the sun going down, usually, or at least I'm tired and ready to go to sleep. And I wake up, with the sun. So I just sleep when it's dark. I go to bed early. Proax says 2 to 3 days, not much per se connected with the audience. Well, that's kind of what the Telegram is about. It's kind of, to keep it going. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe twice a week is cool too. We need Starlink, you guys. I'm like a little bit freaked out by it though. I'm like, I don't know, like, am I already getting radiated by a bunch of fucking satellites right now? Or is it just gonna, like, if I put Starlink on my roof, is it gonna, like, fucking turn me into a big target, and I'm just gonna be like a fucking get radiated from however many fucking satellites all day long? Wind Warrior says, sometimes I don't get to my notifications fast enough to see that you're live when it's a spontaneous one, but I wish I was there. See, that's what I was thinking too, is just like, maybe just once a week is like better to try to make it like a bigger event, you know what I'm saying? Like a longer stream. That way more people have time to pop in. Because when it's also like, the shorter the stream is, the less people can like hit that target. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone's in different time zones. Anna says, I think that once a week is enough, and few questions may indeed appear. When Warrior says, when you drank a lot of caffeine, did you have this easy time getting to sleep? It would depend on if I did it like early or not. You know, because like the crash from the caffeine is pretty hard. So, and also like just because like the way that I drink, that I do it now is like, you know, usually honestly just that's the other thing, is I usually just honestly only drink coffee now when I'm gonna stream, because it makes me more talkative, you know what I'm saying? And you know, but yeah, I don't think it really keeps me up that much. I like crash hard from it, you know. What book am I currently reading? I just started a new one, actually. It's called Merging with Shiva. I started it for like 3 days ago. I just do a thing like where I just randomly open a page and I see what wisdom I get for the day. Because it's like, there's supposed to be like 365 lessons. So this is what we just got. This is copyright notification. This is a quote from a book called Merging with Shiva by Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. Okay, so just for a copyright thing, I think I'm allowed to do this. This is just going to be like I'm just giving you guys whatever our lesson is from today. I've not read this yet. I don't know what we got. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read the first. I'll read this one lesson, I guess. It's only a page. It says, if you were to die at this very moment, where would what you call you go? Where would your awareness be drawn? The laws of death and reincarnation tell us that your awareness would go into various refined force fields of the mind, similar to states of sleep, according to where you are in the mind at the time of death. By a similar law on this plane, when a wealthy executive and a mendicant enter a unfamiliar town, one finds himself lodged at the finest hotel among other businessmen of his caliber, and the other is drawn of necessity to the slums. The entire process of reincarnation is the interplay of magnetic field force fields. Should you reincarnate now, you would undoubtedly enter a force field which would approximate where you are inside yourself, unless of course you had broken through barriers into a force field different from the one in which you are now living. In other words, to use an analogy that can also be applied to states of instinctive, intellectual, and superconscious awareness, if you were living in America but you had your mind centered in a force field called France, owned things imported from France, and spoke fluent French, you would undoubtedly reincarnate in France and act out that drama to its conclusion. Reincarnation and karma is in its cause and effect form are practically one and the same thing, for they both have to do with pranic forces in these bodies of the external mind. The Sanasayan's quest is self-realization. To make the realization a reality, he has always got to be consciously of working out these other areas. Why? Because the ignorance of these areas hold and confuse his awareness, preventing him from being in inner states long enough to attain the ultimate goal of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Little by little, as he goes on his esoteric understandings of these mechanics, he unwinds and re-educates his subconscious. He conquers the various planes by cognizing their function and understanding their relation to one another. The knowledge allows him to become consciously superconscious all the time. He has sufficient power to move the energies and awareness out of the physical, intellectual, and astral bodies into Sushumna. Then the Kundalini force, the vapor-like force, merges into its own essence. It is therefore the great aim of the aspirant on the path of enlightenment to live a well-ordered life and control the forces of the mind that propel him into cycles of life and death. He must strive to gain a fundamental knowing of the life and death reincarnation processes, and be able at the point of death to leave the body consciously as a matter of choice, depending upon the consciousness leading to the moment of transition. He must throw off the false identification with this body or that personality and see himself as the ageless soul that has taken many, many births, of which this is one. See deeper still into the total unreality of life and death, which only exists in their seeming in and outer layers of consciousness, for he is the immortal one who is born and can never die. All right. So that was our daily wisdom from Satguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. I'm going to have to read that again. Now I don't know where the chapter was because, oh, it's right here. This one's about dying. This whole chapter is about dying. Okay. Well, I'll have to read that again because for some reason it's so much harder for me to comprehend and read out loud at the same time. Like I could read that so fast and like absorb it completely if I wasn't talking, but trying to connect my mouth with my memory is just super duper hard. But more or less I get what he's talking about with and that was an interesting thing about the being reincarnated somewhere else if you were based upon like the type of life that you were living. The book club, consulting on business, lifestyle, motivational, choice-making topics. Are you okay too? I really need some help on it. Yeah, okay, I'm okay to do that, but it has to be, taken with a grain of salt of like, who you're asking. Like if you're gonna ask, someone like me who you've come to know me pretty well, so I'm confident for you personally to know what you're doing when you ask me for advice. I'm totally okay with that. I guess I would have to come up with some type of extended disclaimer for other people who maybe don't know me as well, that might just pop in here randomly and be like, yeah, well, I'll ask them for my advice. So what do you think about this? And I'm just like, right, just to nuke their whole world. But yeah, I'm totally cool with that. Sir, would you please record an audiobook? Yeah, I'd have to practice a little bit. I felt like super discoordinated there with my words and my reading. I was like, what's going on? I was like, it's like this has either been too long or changes in my brain patterns or where it's so interesting. You want to know? Here's an interesting thing. So there is a fucking inverse correlation with like my spiritual energy and my chess score. Like, when the more high I fly spiritually, like the lower my chess puzzle score goes, and like when I kind of land down and kind of my ego like starts fighting with me again, like my chess score goes up. Like it's so but it's like a, you know, it's like actually a positive trending thing. Like it's the lows are higher, and the you know, the highs are also higher, so we're trending upwards, like overall, like it's good. But you know, as we're moving, like I'm watching my, like, you know, my logic and reasoning abilities like fluctuate with it. You know, walking the center path is hard, I gotta tell you. You know, I believe it's going to be a worthwhile thing in the future, but it comes with some needless struggles, I gotta say. Psychological, you feel lost track. Let's see. Doric says, do you also forget to finish writing a sentence when you're done thinking it? Why, maybe. I do that too. I obviously do that even when I'm talking. So, Joe Lucas is at work, just popping in to say, hey Joe, what's happening? Anna Paramhova, you also like to read such books. Yeah, you know, I always do a thing, like whenever I have like a big you know, experience or whatever, I go out like hunting for content related to that so I can see other people's experience with it. But then I have a bad habit of like never actually reading it all, so now I got boxes and boxes of books that I'm just like, it's part of my material mess. But yeah, this one's actually pretty cool because it's like broken down into, it's 365 enlightenment lessons from a living master, revealing the depths of Raha Yoga, the clear white light, and ultimate destiny of every seeker. But it's like, you know, that's how long the chapters are. There's 365 of those, so you can just kind of like, you know, find something that you feel like thinking about. Read it real quick. Doesn't take that long, and you know, that's kind of like how I like to I spend like probably the most of my time, like, I guess, meditating. I don't know if it, you know, it counts, but I you know, I've switched to like a big part of my meditation. I think of it as meditation. Is you know, since I had like the success with the moving meditation and the walking meditation, I realized that basically all of my biggest experiences were open eye, like nothing really. Well, actually, the Manipura thing where I like almost nuked myself happened with closed eye meditation, but the everything else happened with my eyes open. So I've kind of switched. I still do closed eye meditation because I want to like practice trying to get a hold of my senses, because there's like weird stuff you can do with your hearing and stuff that is interesting to me. But a big part of mine now is like, you know, I did a stream about this not long ago, is where I just walk and think about God, you know, for lack of a better term. Not even just God, but like existence, all of existence. I go in so deep, and I just kind of pace and, you know, up and down whatever nature path that I'm on. I just do my barefoot walks and just think as deep as I possibly can about the nature of all existence, consciousness, myself, what created me, what I'm part of, who I am, you know, and God, you know. And I just kind of go in super deep on that, just walking, and I can do that for unlimited amount of time. Like, when I do that, I'm like invincible. when I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Like, no, there's no thirst, there's no hunger, there's no desire, there's nothing, like, there's no part of me that is not like completed by that action. Just walking in nature and thinking about all existence. Like, I'm 100%, and I can just, it literally feeds me in the sense of, like, it doesn't matter if I'm fasting or what, like, if I'm doing that, like, I'm experiencing nothing discomfortable. Everything is like absolute peace. So just food for thought there. And it says it would be interesting if all regular subscribers read the book and we could then discuss it together on live broadcast. It'd be a very rich broadcast. I'd be cool, dude, to switch to book club. I guess it would be, because yeah, it would be interesting. You know, honestly, okay, so you've actually just reminded me of something that I have been thinking about. Of, you know, because I've been very clear, you guys. I want to be, and I'm going to clarify again, like, I'm not a teacher of any sort. Like, I'm just started experimenting with all this stuff. You know, it's about to be a year. You know, the wider experience has been a few years, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, the stuff that was happening prior to 1 year ago, I didn't know anything was happening. I just was like everybody else. I was rationalizing everything away, coming up with an excuse, fucking weather balloon or whatever, and calling it a day. So I've only really, like, you know, been realized for the last year. And I'm in no way a teacher, but I am an experimenter. I am a scientist. I would consider myself like a self-scientist. Like, I'm a scientist of the self. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about figuring me out, and not in like a narcissistic whatever way, but in the, like, it's the only humanitarian way to do this, because I can't experiment on other people, you know, with a clear conscience and all that. So I'm doing it to myself. Now, if anyone else, you know, in a totally uncoerced and self-voluntary kind of way would like to do the same, like voyage through this with me, I'm totally down with that. Like, I think that what we can do is create a group of researchers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how it originally got started. You know, this is literally where the yogis came from, you know, many years ago. Like, a bunch of dudes sat down, they were like, yo, so when I do this, I noticed that this happens. What do you know what I'm saying? Oh, well, let me try that out. Like, okay, well, a few months have gone by. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that works for me too. Something kind of like that kind of a thing is what I envisioned on the most simplistic level. And so I think we could do the same thing. If you guys are interested into it, like, let's just face it, like, there's no better teacher than yourself. Nobody knows you better than you. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, through the process of figuring out how we're the same and also how we're different, we can find a lot out. Plus, you know, considering that the physiology of some of us is different, you know what I mean? Like, we, you know, have quite a lot of women here and part of our group. And while I know more than most, probably, men about how your body functions, I don't, you know it in the same way that I know how my body functions. You know what I'm saying? And that I can help other men with how their body may function. You know, so it would be good for us to meld the minds, and at some point we could also, like, maybe even, you know, I'm open to in the future doing some experiments as well about how man and woman's bodies also function together in a synergistic way, you know, beyond the ways that are obvious. And so that's kind of like something I've really been thinking hard about lately, and that I would like to do, with the active parts of the, group, and the people that have been, super active, and they're actually, making changes in their life, and getting some kind of spiritual results from it. No matter what level that you're at, like, I feel like it's like we need to know at all levels, if indeed levels even exist, because I don't even think that they really do, because nothing is linear at all. Like, you can go from fucking level like 3 to level 50 like overnight, you know what I mean? And the other person can just be like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, then you can actually drop back down from like 50. You can be like, boom, and you're like back to 30. You're like, what has happened? Like, it was like so nice up there on the mountain. Like I gotta climb all the way back up there again. There's like, next thing you know, you get like catapulted like over the mountain. You're just like in the valley on the other side, like broken, like still climbing. An eagle swoops down, lifts you up, carries you to the top of the next mountain. You think it's all good, but it's actually a volcano, and it drops you in there. And you're like, No, I'm just okay. Sorry. What? Let me see. Where did I learn to read Cyrillic writing? On airplanes. I had like just like an application that I don't know, some random learn Cyrillic application that I used to sit on airplanes and do, and then once I got like the footing of it, I started doing like Duolingo. Wind Warrior says, do you feel like the more your ego reduces, it takes away the desire to win, compete against others, like in chess? No, I just like feel like literally the more my ego reduces, like the more my like logical mind reduces as well. It's weird, but then like right now my chess score is super up, because like I've been thinking about the thing, and I actually just found in this book yesterday, I found the first like confirmation of my own theory, which I think I mentioned in another stream, about the super ego. That at some point you get, you like slay, it's like about slaying multiple demons. Like, these are your ego is more or less like demons, you know what I'm saying? And you got to slay these demons, right? But when you slay one, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily like the end, and that you're just gonna be like, attain every degree of enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like get past one demon, you get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? But then you gotta like fight a new demon. Is kind of how it works. So, but the thing is that the demons get more and more and more righteous, until eventually they're not even demons. They're like fucking, powerful beings inside of you that are wiser than you. But if you want to like achieve ultimate oneness, like permanently with the Absolute and the Creator, or you want to realize, Godhood, like, you have to get past all of those egos, even the super ego, even the like purified, wise egos. It's not that you want to slay them, but it's just like you gotta move, you gotta become pure. You gotta purify yourself. You can't have other influences inside you. You can hear them and communicate, but you can't let it control you. You know what I'm saying? So, or you can't rely on it. You know what I'm saying? You start relying on, if you're still relying on any inner voice, even if it's like a pure one and a good one, your ego is still there. You're not 100% purified. Like, if you want to be like as maximum, go to the highest of the highs. I mean, this is in theory. I've not gotten that far yet. You know, I've gotten to the point of what I feel is super ego, which I felt, I also yesterday read mentioned in this book about the super ego, but I didn't read the whole context because I had just flipped to like a random page. But it's like was enough to like confirm my theory, at least to me, that that's like actually it seems like an amazing thing, but it's like a setback, you know, on the path to realize complete oneness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've experienced oneness on multiple levels, but I'm not staying, it's like I'm not there right now. You know, like everything that I learned from that time of being there is still within me, and I can, you know, I have that wisdom now, but I'm not like, you know, like I can't like go like, you know, like in the moments when you're like at the highest peak of like you're totally like merged in, it's like you can be anyone or anything. You know what I mean? That's like how psychics and stuff do it. Like, you know, like it's like when somebody's able to like touch you and they know all of a sudden they like know everything about you. That's like real. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody that's in that state of oneness can do that. They can, you know, grab onto you and look at you and boom, like it's like they become you for a moment. You know what I'm saying? They don't stay you forever, but they just need to be there for a moment as you to understand you and know everything about you that they need to know. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the, you know, the ultimate thing there. So you got to be careful of like there's levels of egos. You know, it creates like a little, once you cast out you have an ego death, it creates a void, and you want that void there because that's the space for, you know, that is pure. In that void is God. But it also creates a space for other things to come in. You know what I mean? And that's kind of probably, like, I'm not like a religious person or whatever, but that's more or less what they, you know, I think that they mean when they say, like, you know, that the great deceiver or whatever is that, you know, the ego goes away, but then it comes back in like a new form. It's a new shiny new ego that's all love and light and blah 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 blah, but it's a fucking spiritual ego. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like now you have to, I don't want to say slay that, because it's like a good it's a nice, it's a happy, you know, it's a pure ego, you know, a purer ego, but you gotta get past that as well. You know what I'm saying? And just become empty inside, but in a good way, in a godly way, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's each time like that. I have like a big upgrade or something happens. Like it's like I'll have like a quietness for like a while afterwards, and when it's quiet inside and there's nothing, no inner monologue or anything like that going on, it's very easy to like feel the energy like inside yourself. Like you can feel it in acute ways where you know what I'm saying, like you know where, you know, like what centers are, you know, it's like you can like fire up each center like more or less. You know what I'm saying? You have like a certain amount of prana or chi or whatever life force that's moving through your body, you know what I'm saying? And you can bring in more as well, you know, but when you have like shit going on in your head, it like deducts away from like your feeling of all that, like your acuteness of sensation of your energy. It's like when you're fasting as well is like also like a way, like for me, when I get into a deep dry fasted state, it like kicks that off, it like kills off the ego for a while too. The ego can't really go without food and water, you know what I mean? So it's like a way to like, not necessarily kill it, but you like starve it off a little bit. And when it's super quiet, then now all of a sudden it's like, like if it's like the sensory deprivation kind of a thing. Like if you block your vision, you can hear better kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying? You put on earplugs, you close your eyes, like you feel everything more acutely. It's the withdrawal of senses. It's their spiritual senses or mental senses. It's like a higher levels of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, that's like the whole left brain, right brain thing. Like we're talking about, like I was talking about, I noticed with the chest, it's like, it's like almost like you have so much energy inside you, and it's enough, obviously, to run everything simultaneously. You can have all your chakras going, whatever. Your brain, it's powering your whole body. But you can, if you shut other stuff down, you can shift more energy into different regions. You know what I mean? And that can, depending how much control you have of your body, can go all the way to the point of where it's like literally one side or the other side of your brain. Like, because, you got to figure a lobe of brain is probably taking more energy than almost anything but your heart. I don't know. I mean, maybe your digestive tract's doing a lot too. All these organs are sucking huge amounts of energy. But to be able to like shift from right to left, or to turn everything else off and get both lobes fired up at the same time, is like, the physical basis of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a receiver inside your brain, that can also be like amplified as well, in the whole like pituitary thalamus, like center of your brain, all that. You can turn everything else off and focus all that energy there. All of a sudden you become connected to whatever, the thing that literally makes us, it's not just that thing, but like literally all the different planets and stuff. Like it helps, it's the center of like telepathy, but it's like, it's easier to connect to things that are bigger consciousnesses than smaller consciousnesses. You know what I'm saying? Like it's harder to connect between humans that both have like an atrophied ability than it is for like if you get powered up to connect to like a celestial body or something like that. Sorry, I'm not explaining that very well, but if we're sharing ideas, I'm going back to the chat, by the way. Maya says, if we're sharing ideas, I have one. We could meditate every week all together. I've considered that as well too. The only thing is that's kind of stopped me from going that route. It's like, I wouldn't be able to meditate probably the way I usually meditate. Like it would be a distraction for me to try to do this and be like so it would be like an addition. It would be like an extra practice for me, like that I would have to learn and try to do. But I have like a weird way of doing everything where like I go based upon like the feeling of my body and like my digestive cycles and things like that, that wouldn't necessarily line up with like the same time every day and things like that. But I was thinking of making like you know, I've considered it on some levels, but I guess once a week wouldn't be that bad. We could definitely try to do something like that. There's, because I was actually thinking about, so there's like, we can talk about something actually. Because I've been experimenting, with like different things. So I stopped trying to do like mudras and things that people publicize about, like the known ones, like the ones that like if you look up on yoga website or something, mudras and stuff, and they say this and like I'm not saying that they don't work. Maybe it's for some people that are like more advanced than me, but I don't feel much from them. But I've learned that I feel a lot from like my palm and foot chakras. And so I pretty much switched out like all of my, I stopped doing any other mudras except for like the praying hands, like, you know, like this, you know, and sometimes, and then palms up and palms down. I also do like a, you know, like a hands out, like X kind of a thing. And I also do like this is like kind of like my go-to mudras. I also can feel something from like palms to temples. And also I do like a choking myself out one too, but like the right hand is like higher up in like the soft part of my back of my head and my throat, and I can like also meditate on that one too, but I do that one in private so that people don't think I'm being a weirdo. So, but yeah, that's what I feel from more than like, you know, the standard mudras. I feel something just so much more from my palms than anything else. And then I usually do like, I like to sit in like a butterfly position with my heels together and the bottoms of my feet together. Is kind of like one of my more go-to meditative things. Other than like I do siddhasana also, but I have to warm up for that. And then aside from that, I also do like a hero pose a lot, because it's like my most comfortable like position to meditate in, that I can sit for like a long time. And I also find that I get like a way better, like, you know, I have like a couple of different exercises that I do to warm up, like with my breathing and stuff first as well. And sitting in hero pose and doing like a twisting thing, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel it more than any other way of doing that, which is not like something I usually see anyone doing with like Kundalini yoga and stuff. But I just personally feel it so much more in my sacrum, doing it in hero pose. So just things like that. Like I've been like coming up with my own yoga that works for me personally better. That's like a mixture of the things that feel the best for me and the things that are the hardest for me. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's all incorporated in with like meditation as well, because like I said, I do a lot of like yin yoga kind of stuff, but it's like more of like a self-discovery thing where I'm just kind of rolling around till I find a good stretch somewhere doing weird stuff, and then I'll just lay there and just wait. Even if it takes an hour, like I just wait till that muscle finally does that thing where it like goes from like, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Lay there for an hour hurting until all of a sudden it goes, relax. And I'm like, oh, got it. You know what I mean? Like that's like my style of yoga. Like I've never learned it from anybody or anything. It's just that, I don't know, I just became, after that whole like Shakti upgrade, like, I don't know, I started feeling something in my palms and my feet, like on a different level. than before, and also like this inside as well. Like it's like there's like a channel that like opens up, but you can like feel it really, really acutely, and you feel it more the quieter your ego is. The more the shit's yapping in my head, the less I can feel all these like energy centers and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And the less visuals I really have, but the higher my chest score is. So, you know, but like I said, it's like a wavering thing, so don't expect not to have dips spiritually. Like I've noticed, like it's just like this, but you want the lows to just be higher, you know what I mean? Like you want to try to avoid hitting a total, like it never goes all the way back down. I don't know if it can, but it's never done that for me. It just kind of like, it goes up, 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 up super high, and then it comes down, but not as, each time the lows are higher, you know? And that's just what I've noticed. So I'm like super interested in, you know, making this more about like personal research, and we sharing our findings and stuff. Like I would like to include, you know, your findings on things in this. Then like trying to say that I'm teaching anybody or anything like that, because I'm not really qualified to be a teacher. You know what I mean? Like I can't be a teacher after 1 year, you know. I'm, like I said, I'm just in the process of like learning my own style of yoga, which maybe once I perfected this into like something that's, you know, more or less. Stop, whatever you're doing, dude. Hey, please, stop. No, get. It's fucking licking the wall. But yeah, and what I can teach you is like my thought process behind it all. I kind of like, that's what I was just doing right now, is like you know, it's about finding something, understanding the feel of what you're feeling. Is it a tight muscle? Is it a tight tendon? Is it tight fascia? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it, you know, like, you know, just, it's like, how do you get a hold of that? You know, there's some hidden muscles and stuff that's like, you know, I'm sure that if anyone has any real experience with yoga, it would help a lot. I don't personally have that. I just have whatever download information. But like, you know, you can make up poses. You just got to figure out how to find it. Like for me, like my right side and the left side has completely different trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever there's a lot of shit that it just wrecks me on the right side that I can do easily on the left side, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And it's pretty much all opposites. Like it's like, and I don't know if that's anyone else's experience, but me going all the years and a lot of physical activity, and then, you know, a time of not doing much, like my body kind of got twisted a little bit, you know, and I'm like untwisting it. So, yeah, I can't teach that, but I can share my thought process, and if that works for anyone else, then you can potentially do the same process and let us know your findings on like an experimental basis. That could be an interesting thing. Oh. Let's see. Frankita also wants to do yoga with us. That's good. See, I think that's fun. Smirk how male body function. True. Millie Sanchez says, hi, how are you, Bruce? I'm good. I'm happy you oh, I should notify on Instagram. You know, I posted on my story, but that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that in the Instagram live chat. It's not a bad idea. I should make a chat for notifications on Instagram. I like that. I will do that. Proax is proper body proper functioning, an online course written by Bruce Venture. Yeah, there you go. That's what it's all about, you guys. It's you know, there's not the whole, I mean, I feel like a big part of the problem with way that people learn spirituality, and it works for some people, that's fine, but like, just, you know, me having a different experience than most, adding my 2 cents about it, is that I feel like it's overcomplicated. A lot of the, like, you know, content out there, like, they're trying to give you like as much information as possible, and, you know, some of it is just repeated, not from experience, and you know, it's that being repeated is from somebody with like a lot of experience, and the people repeating it have no fucking clue what they're actually talking about. You know, in the same way that, like, you know, a blind person could attend lectures at colleges until they became an absolute PhD of light science, but they could have never seen light. You know what I'm saying? Or just like a, you know, a dietitian can learn all the science, be a PhD on nutrition, and be fucking eating McDonald's all day. Just be like 500 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, the way that it comes across is just not proper. It's like overcomplicated. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you know, if somebody wants to get more fit or something, they don't have to learn like every exercise in the world. They have to like stop eating. They have to change their diet a little bit, and, you know, if they do some cardio, that's good. That'll get them there, you know. And so I think that it would be good if we kind of gathered some data and research about like what actually like people are feeling, you know, not what people read or, you know, heard, or, you know, that like that, but like what they actually tried and did or didn't work, you know. So I don't know. What was the highlight of my day so far? Being a total degenerate and drinking some coffee like total madman. Awesome. Everything that goes with a good strong cup of coffee after a while. Let's see. Rakita says, how long? Oh, wax costs $999. I don't know what costs that much, but if I'm selling it, I'm happy about it. Let's see. From Kita says, Millie Sanchez for about 40 minutes. Okay, sorry, that's irrelevant. Noi, welcome, by the way. Millie says, at what point do you think you will be at your highest level spiritually, or is there really no limit? You know, Noi, that's a great question, but that is a question that's beyond my knowing. I struggle with myself personally to try not to ask that question. Try not to wonder about that, because there was a couple points when I was discouraged a little bit. Not discouraged, but like I kind of thought, you know, maybe I wasn't rigid enough, maybe I wasn't doing enough, and, you know, there was times when, like, yeah, the low was coming back to earth a little much, and like right now I'm kind of there right now as well. But but it just surprises you. And each thing that has happened, I didn't really expect it or see it coming. I wasn't trying to make it really happen. You know, the times that when I was trying the hardest to make stuff happen, it doesn't happen. It's I haven't noticed a real rhyme or reason to the whole thing. I just do, you know, I think it has, some of it has to do with like, you know, it's a balance between purification and I think in the beginning also, like, you know, you need to, while fasting is super important, there's also like a factor of not just food intake, but like just energy intake in general. So like you need to be connected with the earth a lot, barefooted. You need to be, and in the sun simultaneously. Like that's something that charges you up. And especially if you're like conscious and you like learn how to do it. Which doing that while fasting is one of the things that like teaches your body how to like find, how to like capitalize on alternative energy, not alternative, but what is actually probably supposed to be your main energy source, but it just shuts off when you're constantly eating all the time. But in general, just like the intake of prana or chi, which comes through food, but also through a connection between the sun and the earth and going through you, like your Taurus field getting amplified, right? And that can actually come from other people as well, by the way. And animals. It can come from a lot of sources. There's a lot of sources, but in general, like you have to be building up your prana in different ways. But I don't really know when it'll happen or if it ever will happen, or if there's a limit at all. I actually suspect that there's no limit. You know, I can only speak of the experience that I have had. I can't speak of what will happen in the future or what I, you know, anything like that. But, you know, as I mentioned in a prior stream, like I've noticed that each big experience had some kind of association with like a different cosmic body. And it kind of like a layers thing. It's like unraveling layers. Like it's like, or shedding layer. I don't know. It's like, you know, you're trying to get to the core of the thing. But this happens through connecting with these different cosmic bodies, and in becoming those bodies for however long you have the experience of being a different consciousness, the consciousness of something much bigger than yourself. And you get to remember that, and you get to remember the wisdom that you learned through that experience. But I believe that at the highest level, that you can stay in that consciousness of that celestial body, whichever one you want, probably indefinitely, or possibly even, I've considered what could be the highest of the high. Like, I mean, you know, what happens when you stop, when you've had the experience of every cosmic body, and now you're having the experience of the whole galaxy? What happens when you have the experience of the black hole in the middle of the galaxy? What happens when you have the experience of being the entire universe at the same time? Not just looking through every person's eyes, not just becoming the earth and like feeling every blade of grass, you know, which is where I'm at. But what happens when you start feeling other planets? You start feeling, I mean, not other planets, but other solar systems, other possibly like humanoids, like aliens, you know what I'm saying? Like interdimensional, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the answers to these questions. I'm just saying these are the questions that I ask from sitting where I'm sitting with my experiences. Is I'm going, when I say how high does this go, that's what I'm imagining, and it's unimaginable, because already what I've experienced is unexplainable. I've tried my best to explain it. Maybe people who have done DMT or ayahuasca, or probably some people have had some really intense spiritual experiences. I know there's at least one person here who makes art, which definitely reminds me of I've seen at least one photo that reminds me of something I've seen myself personally. So you know, I know people are having these experiences, but you know, this is the way I see it, is unfolding. It's like it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's like already at the point where like it's undescribable. Like to feel every blade of grass, to look at yourself, to look at a tree, you know, and yourself and see no difference. Like it's part of your body, and this is part of your body, you know. To be running with animals and flying with birds, you know, simultaneously. To, you know, be looking through every person's eyes, to be like looking at your bloody hands, you know, and after a crime, and delivering a baby at the same time, as a man. You know what I'm saying? But not just on one level, but thousands of times over, and everything else in between. You know what I'm saying? Like every horrible thing that's ever happened on the planet, you're experiencing that at the moment of every bit of joy and happiness that's being experienced. And like to try to explain that to anybody is impossible. Because it's not just like, I'm just saying like extremes, random things that came to my head, but I'm saying is like, you can't explain what that's like when it's 1,000 different things, 1,000,000 different things, 1,000,000,000 different things. And that it's not a stress at all, that your consciousness, your mind is so expanded and massive that to do that is nothing to you. It's just easy. It's like, that's like, you know, if you want to think of it in like a more structured, you know, sci-fi kind of way, it's a program running on the side to experience everything at once, and that you're just you're not only experiencing all that, but you're getting the grand total emotion of it, which is unconditional love. That's just unbounding, like beyond anything you can imagine, that your heart is like exploding with ecstasy, and you're just, you know what I mean? Like, you can't explain that. Like, this is the best I can do to explain it, but there's no way for someone without experiencing it to comprehend it. It's 100% impossible. Like, there's not even, like, without experiencing it, like, the most vivid imagination on the planet cannot even get close to imagining it. You know, and to think that it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you know what I'm saying? Like, having that experience, again, I thought it was the biggest thing that ever could happen. But then I merge into the earth, and I can feel I'm having the experience of the animals, of the fish, of the sea. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything simultaneously, the plants. Like, to understand the actual, like, reality of how conscious a tree is. But not just a tree, literally a blade of grass. Like, it's all completely and totally conscious. It's just not all reactive is the thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's purity. That speaks of purity. Like, you know, a tree is hyper intelligent, way more than people realize. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about things. Like, it's hard to really comprehend it, but like, things don't just grow thorns because they're unintelligent. They grow thorns because they are intelligent. They don't want to be stepped on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, things don't grow fruit because what? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's literally an offering. It's saying, here, I provide. Can you take care of me? Like, let's make a truce. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you care for my children? You know what I mean? Like, I have this for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's hyper intelligence. Like, you know, you cut it, whatever, it doesn't do anything back. It has no animosity. It doesn't understand that type of, you know, action. It doesn't exist for it. So it's just something to think about, you know. And ultimately, I say this all the time, but the most important part of all this is to realize that there's a super consciousness that is experiencing all these things all the time, you know. And possibly, I think that at the highest level is for you to be completely synced with that and experiencing all of it all the time. You know what I mean? That's why, like, these, you know, there's literally monks out there in caves in the wilderness that almost nobody ever sees. That sometimes they walk up on them and they're just chilling in the cave. They haven't eaten for however long, and they're fucking glowing. You know what I mean? And it's because they're literally completely and totally immersed in that experience of oneness. They don't need to leave the cave or eat or anything like that, because they're literally living off of the experience of being part of everything at once. You know what I'm saying? Which it's impossible to understand even the whys and of this world. Like, people, like, one of the first things that people want to, you know, question in religions and stuff like that is, like, how can God be all powerful and all good? It's, you know, how could bad exist if he's all powerful and he's all good? Because he should have the power to, you know, vanish all bad. And it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But, like, if you have the experience of knowing all that, then you understand this world. And once I suspect that one of the realizations, which I've thought about, but I'm no doubt I do not grasp or comprehend, is, like, you know, well, there's a couple things. One of them is, like, I've realized I've remembered a couple of lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the lives that I remembered, it was, like, early on. It was, like, when I thought I was losing my shit. Was triggered from, like, seeing photos of my old self. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if maybe it wasn't my old self at all. Maybe it's just that we have access to everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the highest level, you've experienced everything and everybody at the same time. And if you merge with, you know, when you're having oneness, it's possible that you can just, maybe it's not your direct former lives necessarily the only things that you can remember, but maybe it's every life that's ever been. You know what I'm saying? You just have to know how to, like, locate that life and, you know, visualize something from that life to get the rest of it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure exactly how all that works, but I've had just enough little experiences like that to wonder. You know what I mean? And if you do start reading random stuff, which, you know, I get fed weird stuff on my Instagram that I would have never probably found or anything like that, but because these, like, these apps, like, listen to everything you say, I do these streams talking to you guys about all these deep spiritual topics, and then it starts feeding me, like, stuff, like, you know, Hermetic Gnosticism and like all this stuff, even though I didn't like mention Hermetic Gnosticism. It's like, but the concepts that I'm already talking about with you guys when I'm answering questions and talking about the experience I've had, literally the algorithm understands what I'm talking about, and it like starts feeding me like crazy, you know, Gnostic teachings and shit that are like made into memes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so I understand that it's like everything, like I'm not the only one. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like I'm discovering shit that has already been discovered, but I'm like just discovering it on my own. But it's because that's how it happens. It's like once you fucking the dam breaks, you know what I'm saying? Like eventually the whole Kundalini fire burns everything out, you know what I mean? You gotta fucking, you know, but supposedly some people say this is dangerous as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, which I believe, because when I did the mani-pur thing, I was steaming. Like, I literally thought I was like gonna catch on fire. Like, it was like all bad, like really all bad. Like I can't, oh, there's literally a spider just, he was climbing on me earlier, and then he like left, and now he was just like climbed over my camera. That's what that little blur was. A little baby spider. It's our homie for the stream. That's funny. You know what I mean? What's crazy is that this is a living thing with eyes and whatever. Like God's having the experience right now of being a spider on my phone, climbing over my phone camera while I'm talking about him on YouTube. So, and then watching me from another angle from Sam right now. Isn't it fucking cool to think about? To just understand that much. You know what I mean? It's an easier way to understand it. You know, but this is why it's important for, like, this spider has to be protected and have a good experience with on my phone right now. Sam is probably the most unhappy part of God right now that's experiencing this moment because he wants to eat the chicken that is sitting in the back waiting for him. But, you know, you guys are having your experience, I'm having my experience. The people that think I'm a fucking weirdo in the parking lot right here, they're having their experience. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's all one single experience. Do you know? And the other cool thing is, like, while we're all in the same world and stuff, the reason why we're all here is because our frequency is more in tune. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that literally are like scrolling through this shit on the live feed right now. They see me talking for 2 seconds. They're not on this frequency. They just scroll right past me. It's like I don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, someone walks past my window right now. They hear me talking about this shit. They think I'm a weirdo. They drive away as fast as possible. Somebody walks past my window right now. They know a little something. Maybe they've, you know, a little more spiritual. They maybe hang out for a minute and, you know, see what they can eavesdrop on. You know what I mean? They're on our frequency. They're going to go home and they're going to think about it. You know, so it's just a beautiful system of like how everything works, and it seems it's brutal. It's brutal, and that's why there was, you know, a lot of drama and, you know, some feelings in the dimension above when this world was created. You know what I mean? Because this is this world. One thing I can tell you about other dimensions is that this world is a major, you know, political topic in the next dimension. so you know what I mean? But it works is the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like this, the system works here. Like, we are creating divinity in the most fucked up way possible. And that's what's going on. So let me go. That was a long answer. Thank you for that question, then, Noi. How are you dealing with rude people? I don't even notice them anymore. It's like, you know, Like I said, they just vibe right off me. I can't even. It's difficult to see them. Have I ever been scared that I'd lose my hair? No, everyone. There's no baldness in my family, and my hair is just like, it's pretty dry right now. It needs some oil and love, but I'm like, today's gonna be shower day. What's up, Dominic? Welcome. What's up, Swag Gaming? Sam, leave me alone, please. My friend, I love you. But stop. Park says, let's do all kinds of these meditations. Choking is my favorite. Also, I've tried chanting Om the way you do. I feel a vibration through my whole body, goosebump. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing better than the Om. But the way that I said the Om, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can feel it, and if you do it different pitches, you'll find like you can activate, like it's multi-purpose to me, like, because like if I vibrate it up to the top of my head, like I get like total calm, right? But I can also like, kind of do it like right in the center by like my brain stem, and it's like it will help me get into like kind of like more of like a trance state. And then Sam, stop. Whatever you are licking, stop it. No. But I've had like multiple big experiences with it when I was doing it, and Sam, get in your chair. Get up there. When like my ears started popping, and then like once my ears popped, I could feel it like vibrating through my ear canals, and that led to like major DMT style release, something happens with that. But the very first time, when everything kicked off, I had the ears popping thing, but I also had felt I was like getting like a different sensation, because there's a way to also like kind of make it more nasally, and it kind of comes up in your forehead. And I think that like, you can kind of alternate between them too. So it's like if you want to get some of that going on, you can do that too. So just a food for thought with the versatility there. But and I also find that for some reason, because I've tried it like sometimes I just do the when I'm trying to be more like low key, not like, or else sometimes I just do the but like the different segments of it kind of all have different effects on their own as well. And same if you try to put like a little bit more of a nasally in on it. So just some food for thought. This is what I'm saying. Just experiment with things. See how stuff affects you personally. Like I think about that a lot. Like about like the whole mantra thing. Like, is it necessarily, are the words really matter? Like, is it like literally that crazy into the world of magic that there's literally magic incantations and stuff? Or is it like really about how different vibrations and things affect your brain or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I'm just saying this is like also part of the things that I think about during my process of self-realization. Yeah, I think I spilled some ice cream on the ground or something right there, or something spilled. I can't see anything is the thing, but there's something's flavored down there. Dominic, is not good at English, but he's watching anyways. Well, thank you, Dominic. Hopefully the translation afterwards in the what do you call it, subtitles, is not butchering whatever I'm saying too much. Melanie says, sometimes I have the feeling that it would be good if we all had an experienced teacher with us who could guide us through these perceptions from the spiritual world. She says, I'm in contact with a very clairvoyant woman. She has somehow developed the knowledge to know the difference. For example, sometimes you have the perception that you are a reincarnation of someone, and yet you are only in contact with a part of that being's energy, which can be very confusing. Yeah, I think that's possible too. I think that's kind of what I was talking to, and I don't know if you were here for that part, Melanie, but about like the super ego is that, you know, you kind of, when you've done a lot of work on getting rid of your ego, and you have that space is open, that's what you want to be at. But that space being open also leaves room for other things to come in and kind of like take its place. And then you end up sometimes with, you know, something there that is not bad. You know what I'm saying? In the way that's like your original ego maybe was. But it's a setback. As much as it feels like a major improvement, and it can be a good thing because it teaches you things. You know what I'm saying? Like touching something's essence like that, feeling even a part of its energy, can teach you tremendous things and even, you know, bless you in a lot of different ways. But you know, once you form a connection with that thing and it's advising you or talking to you, it's your teacher. You know what I'm saying? But you have to realize that it's your teacher, and that ultimately what you are is you know, you're trying to shed everything and get back to the original source of the absolute. Like you got to move past it all. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get back to like the actual source, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying that that's for everybody. That's a completely like life destructive process. Like, that's not something that everybody wants. Like a lot of people have families. If you have kids and things, like it can be very difficult, to probably go that. That's the reason why people are monastic and things like that, and, you know, ascetic. They don't have families and stuff like that because it's just not something everyone can do. But you can have, or at least not something everyone can do at every stage in their life. Some people have to, you know, finish responsibilities that they've already taken on before they can enact in something like that. But but it doesn't mean that you can't find personal liberation. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't have enough experiences with spirituality to at least truly teach you the most important thing of it all that will bring peace to you, absolute peace. And what I mean when I say liberation is literally really comes down to one major thing. And everything else is all, it's going above and beyond, and it's dedicating your life to spirituality. But what most people should be going after is something which they can definitely go after, and maybe there's actually two things that they should go after, but I'll say that these two things are also something that everybody, no matter what your living situation is, family, whatever, everybody can achieve this, is release from the fear of death. You can be shown the reality that you never really truly die. You know, that your soul goes on and that you will be reborn. until you're not. And even when you're not, it's not that you're gone forever. It's just that your personality is been completed to the point that you don't need this specific type of growth anymore. You know what I mean? Like this world has done for you what it could do for you at that point. And then now you're going back to, you know, where you came from. And the other thing is the meaning of unconditional love. What it means to love everybody and everything. You know, just for the sake of existence, for the sake of making all this possible. You know, to realize this world as a good thing, you know, and not a negative. And that's what's up. But for sure, somebody's talking about DMT. People who have done stuff like that are going to understand what I'm talking about probably a lot better than other people. But keep in mind that doing super strong things like that is something that should always be like preceded by preparation of the body. You know what I mean? Like all these energy channels and stuff need to be purified and moving as well, not having any major weird traumatic blockages and stuff before you start blasting open higher centers with substances and stuff, because you don't want to start like a short circuit kind of a thing. Because if this energy is moving up into the brain but it's not moving properly, that's when like a lot of like mental health issues can arise. So just saying, I don't know if anyone was serious about whether I didn't read the rest of that, but just saying my 2 cents on the drugs, the DMT thing. Welcome Talo, Manifestors here, welcome. Says, do humans really need to experience this while in their earthly experience? Perhaps these are reserved for other realms. Why not live on Earth and the way we're meant to live on Earth? Yes, this is why I'm not going for regression hypnosis. I don't know exactly which part that you're talking about, but I'm just going to refer to all of whatever I said and say no. Humans don't need to experience all of it, but they do need to experience the 2 things I just mentioned, and that's release from the fear of death and universal love, or not universal love, but unconditional love, because that's how we heal this planet. People have to realize the meaning of karma and that reincarnation is real and that there's no way out of their karmic debts. People need to realize that they can't be horrible fucking people and do horrible things and get out of it through death. You know, people have to realize that there's no murder-suicide option to in this world. That the people that do shit like that are fucked, frankly. The most fucked people of all. You know, there's no free rides. There's no escape from virtue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will become virtuous. Like, you're gonna learn. Like, you will become divine. And that can take 10,000 lives of suffering, or that can take 1,000 lives of suffering. You know what I'm saying? Before you start getting to some good. And, you know, that's going to be compartmentalized to your soul. And your soul is going to serve that off and is going to feel that every time. You know what I'm saying? Every time, you know, you're going to have those memories side by side of all those lives at some point. Even if it's just at the moment of death, you're going to remember every fucking life you ever had. So every fucked up thing that you've ever done, excuse my language, you're going to remember that next to every bad thing that's ever happened to you and every other fucked up thing you've ever done in any other body and every soul. And you're going to have that download and that realization at your moment of death, or your moment of enlightenment for that matter, whichever comes first. Usually they come on the same day, but in some cases not. You know, you're going to have that realization side by side. And so those two things are incredibly important, because you have to realize that you're, you know, don't have to be fearful, that you can do the right thing always, even if it means losing your life. And you can also not do the wrong thing, and there's no escape. There's no, oh, I'm just going to die anyways. There's no, oh, nobody found out, nobody seen it, nobody heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't get away with nothing. Whatever you think that you got away with, you didn't. I'm not talking to anyone specifically, but I'm just talking to everybody in the world. And I'm saying is that you didn't get away with nothing. You're going to serve off every fucking bastardly thing that you ever did, if you ever did anything bastardly. I'm not saying that everybody, that some of you might have lived a perfect life, whatever, but in some way, you're going to get away with something. You know, I mean, you're not going to get away with anything. You're going to pay for everything. And if, you know, if you're smart, you'll start stacking a little extra in the front for padding. So, you know, if you do fuck up one day, make a misstep, that you know, there's a little cushion. Maybe you know, got some good coming on the other side, because karma can be literally your greatest ally. It can be a superpower beyond all superpowers, where you don't need anything else. You know what I mean? Like, they have the whole thing called karma yoga for a reason, because if you have enough good karma, like, you can't fail. Like, everything that you do in life will end up coming out okay. Like, you can just be like bad at everything. You know what I mean? But if you have enough good karma, like, you just win nonstop, even if you're bad at everything. You know what I'm saying? And if you got bad karma, like, you can't win. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, if you do win in this life with bad karma, it's literally just, it's like the opposite of enlightenment. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the only reason why they're letting you win is to make it hurt more when you lose next time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the opposite of, like, thinking that you're mortal and realizing that you're immortal. It's like, oh, thinking that you were the shit and then realizing that you've got, like, endless suffering coming. You know what I mean? It's like, so you gotta, like, really, that's why those things are important. Is it important to you know, realize complete and total oneness, like, on this specific life today, like right now? No. You can do it later if you're not ready for that now, because that's just how the system works. Like, you know, when you're ready, you'll be ready. But those other two things everyone should strive for, because it can save them, it can liberate them, not just in this life, because the liberation from fear matters so much. But on the other side of it, it can just, you know, free them from fucking up and creating suffering for themselves in future lives and things. And ultimately, everybody on this planet will come to the same conclusion if they have those two experiences. Like, there will be no more violence, there will be no more wars, there will be no more, you know, slavery, there will be no more poverty. Like, there will be all of the major problems that actually we need to fix. You know, the environment, like the planet, like save the planet, like all these things, everything that actually matters, you know, will be fixed if everybody has those two realizations, because nobody is going to fucking want to come reincarnate on a planet, on this planet, with what we see happening in the future now. The way this is going right now, do you want to come back here in any form? Even if you're the fucking, you know, the king. Like, who the fuck wants to come back here with the trajectory that we're on right now? You want to be back here in 200 years? Like, can you imagine how fucking weird shit's going to be by then? Like, it doesn't look like it's going in a good direction. Now, it could be different. If everything was going, like, amazing, you'd be like, oh, this is awesome. I'll be back in fucking 100, 200 years. Like, this will be fucking sweet by then. You know what I mean? Like, that could be the way that we could all be living. And that could be, like, the, you know, the peace that we could all have of living our whole lives. Not only not fearing death, but, like, even looking forward to coming back again. But instead, we're all fucking terrified to come back again because look at the way this is going. Like, it's going to be even worse. So there's karma works on multiple fucking levels of not just personal karma, but our karma as a species. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, even so, our karma, you know, God's karma. Because God is ultimately, like, God's physical body, like cosmic body, is the universe itself. Like, the whole universe as a whole, like, that's God. Do you know what I'm saying? And all the other gods, you know, inside the universe, those are all the other cosmic bodies. You know what I'm saying? All the ascended masters, all these different things. Every star in the sky is a consciousness. And that's all part of the universe, which is God. Right? But there's also something that created that universe. And they created many universes. Do you know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, this process happening not just on our planet, but on all the planets and everything in the entire universe, like, the culmination of all of that is also part of God's karma. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is where the big disagreement with the place of, like, having places like this on Earth with time and this, you know, brutal school that creates these minds. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of processing God's karma as well amongst all the things. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like our responsibility towards ourselves, towards God, to fix this place, to fix ourselves, to fix our species, to, you know what I'm saying, if ever it comes to the time that we can interact with other species and things, like, to really realize the interconnectedness between everything, and not just ourselves, but, like, even plants, bugs, like, small things. You know, when you know, the thing that, like, you know, let's paint a mental picture or something. A person that's going, you know, let's say it's a Christian person that's going, how can God be so cruel? Something just happened. A family member died. How could, maybe a family member died young. How could God be so cruel? They could take away this innocent life, whatever. And that person goes to sleep. They wake up the next day. They walk into their kitchen and there's ants everywhere. And they fucking pull out the raid. And they just fucking spray everything down, instant mass murder, hundreds of ants. You know what I'm saying? Don't even fucking think twice about it. They just fucking kill everything and wipe them up, throw it in the garbage, go about their day. And then, you know, never realize that they are made in the image of the God that they were wondering how he could be so cruel that he could let an innocent life die. Meanwhile, you know, never for 1 second thinks about the fact of that just killing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds just because it was inconvenient in her kitchen. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the irony of the whole thing. You know what I mean? That it goes down that deep. You know, once, you know, that everything is conscious and that everything is, it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of fucking consciousness. Like, you're collecting data. You know what I mean? Like, this whole universe is based upon the eternal question. Which, what is the eternal question? The eternal question is, what if? What if? What if? We could ask this. This is the question we could always ask. No matter how much we answer, we could say, well, what if this? What if this? There's no end to it. It's the question you can always, 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 always ask. It's a question that requires a whole universe to answer. It's a question that requires multiple universes to answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to do it all if we want to know what if. You know what I mean? And then that leads me back to my ultimate question myself when it comes down to everything, because I do understand that this is, to some extent, it's a very important illusion, but it is an illusion to some extent, because it's not the base reality. But is there a base reality? Like, is there anywhere in the world where humans actually exist? Not in the world, but I mean like in any existence in physical form, where it's not created by something else, and is like, are we testing something for something that's real so that we know everything about, you know, the real actual universe? Like, is it a simulation of something that exists, or is it something that's been created just as a, you know, why? To answer the question, who wants to know the answer? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's kind of the whole thing there. All right, back to the chat. It says, it scares me, the living daily, when I think that there is one way that I'm supposed to spend my life like society, my family would want me to. Yeah, no, there's definitely, I don't think that's the whole point of having multiple lives. You know, it's like part of the release of the fear, is releasing also the fear that you're doing anything wrong. Because, yeah, okay, you could harm, you know, you could backtrack, you could have bad karma, you know, but I'm sure everybody did at some point. Nobody had a 10,000 perfect lives in a row where it got better every time. Everybody's going to have taken some steps back. You know what I'm saying? Now the question is, are you going to do it consciously, or are you going to do it unconsciously? Because if you're doing it unconsciously, that's just fucking, you know, that's, shit happens. It's part of the process. But if you're doing it consciously, then, you know, that's a totally different kind of stupid. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically why it's important to have these realizations, so that you can make an educated decision about what you're going to do at any given moment, and you can actually live in the moment and understand how important it is to live in the moment. You know, because it's literally this moment's what matters. You probably aren't going to remember necessarily this moment. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but there's a lot of moments that you don't. You're going to probably forget most of your moments. The vast majority of your moments are going to be forgotten. So that's why it's important to live in the moment as much as possible, because you have to make these decisions all the time at the moment when it's happening, because you're not going to fucking remember later. But guess who is? You are. When you collapse all your wavelengths together into a, you know, realization of everything, and have to restart your whole life, and it calculates your karma. You know what I'm saying? So Max says, can you go deeper into this incarnation being some sort of punishment? It's not necessarily like a punishment necessarily, it's like a learning process. But, you know, if, you know, if you're here, it's because you needed to learn something. And so now you could, it's not necessarily like punishment, because from your view outside of this dimension, it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Because this is fucking just something you go do real quick. You know what I mean? Time doesn't exist. So even if it takes you 10,000 lives here, you don't fucking care there. You know what I mean? You're just like, get it. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm that stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just watching the drama. But, so it's not really a punishment in that regard. But this part of you, which is actually here, is gonna have a lot of fucked up things happen to them in the grand total of all of existence, you know, the sum of all your lives. And so, you know, from this perspective, it definitely seems like punishment at times, but that's not necessarily why you came here. It's more like there was like you know, more like it was like there was like a drama of how the creation of this place would affect, you know, the virtue of God as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And that is being settled. You know what I'm saying? And so we know that it works to some extent. We know that it works on the individual level because people ascend. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't personally know how it's going to work out for our species as a whole. I assume that it's probably going to end up working. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that we're all good. But if that's going to be true, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? And so it's important to put your energy into that, but to also know that that's like part of the game that you're playing. You know, there's no one way to live your life, but there is a point to the experience and the process. And you knowing the point helps you, you know, for lack of a better analogy, stop playing the side quests and start focusing on actual progression, you know, towards the end goal. Wig says, ever thought of vlogging a day in the life type video? Yeah, but I just kind of like, the thing is it wouldn't be a real day in the life because I'm not trying to like, you know, I mean, it could be like a simulated day in the life, but it's like I would like, it wouldn't be a real day in the life because I would like, I don't fucking even carry my phone on me most of the time. So, you know what I mean? It's not like I have like somebody, you know, I could put a camera on Sam's neck. It could be like a day in the life of Sam, maybe. But like, it wouldn't be much of a day of the life if I was like holding my phone, when like a day in the life is mainly revolves around avoiding technology, being away from radio waves, being in nature, you know, avoiding people that are on their phones. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know, being places that don't have Wi-Fi. I mean, it could be a video, but it's just, I don't know. I just don't, it probably won't work. Manifest said, just a thought, why not try to leave a legacy contribution of verse first and not hide behind imaginary, in some cases, realities, while having havoc behind us on Earth? I don't know how that's in contradiction to everything that I just said, but I do know that I'm probably not up to speed on the chat, and so perhaps you wrote this before I finished answering the last question. Noise says, thank you very much for answering my question. Let's have several vowels to the O, manifester says, not just O. Well, you should definitely catch up on some of the other streams that we've definitely gone over that. It's been a big point that we've been making the last few streams. Buford's buddy says, hey, welcome, welcome. Talo, welcome. And Max says, do you think we get reincarnated linearly, meaning in however many years into the future on this planet, or could we reincarnate in some parallel Earth or in the past? That's a great question. I think that it's linearly, but like I don't think that it's necessarily like I don't think that it's like always like the same amount of time. Like I think you could like come back like instantly, or you could come back after a while. And I think that it's kind of like, you know, probably more or less like it's probably like depending how long you've been on Earth. Like if you've been here shorter, you're probably like banging out lives faster to like, you know, build your code pretty much. But, you know, as you're like accruing more and more and more karma that has to process, like I think that you got to kind of sit with everything a little longer, like in a combined force before you get wiped and come back again, because you got to kind of like, you know, rebuild your soul, you know, as the more advanced version that has had more experiences. So it's like the more lives that you have to combine into your new starting soul, the longer it probably takes for you to come back into a new body. Do you know what I'm saying? And we're at the bottom of the chat. So, it's right on time. It seems like it just works out like that. 2 hours. Any last minute questions, you guys, before I sign off? I'm kind of ready to go myself. I think that was a good stream. I feel like we talked about stuff. Have a great day as well, Max. Everyone else that's still here. You guys have a great day. Much love, everybody. I think I'll be on again next Friday. I'll see if we add one on another day in the meantime, but for now, Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific time is the time. Yeah. Much love, everybody. I'll see you guys on Telegram. And hope it was a good one. Peace.